Hello, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to talk about virtual environments, particularly Conda. So what are virtual environments? They're basically isolated instances of software. So normally when you install software, it's installed directly on the operating system. With virtual environments, you can create this folder where all of your software for that particular environment are going to be stored. And while you've got the environment activated, you'll be using that software. And outside of the virtual environment, the normal operating system software is used. And why should you use virtual environments? There's many reasons, but the most popular ones are managing package dependencies. So different projects might require different versions of certain software. And so this is a great way to keep everything kind of separate and organized. It also makes reproducibility easier. So you can recreate a particular environment because much more easily because everything is sort of kept in its own folder. And then finally, it keeps your operating system software lean and clean. So installing different versions of the same software on your operating system can get messy and have unexpected consequences. And so doing this can cause your system to get bloated and isn't a good idea. And just as a general rule, it is a best practice to create a virtual environment for every project that you start. So just FYI. So what is Conda and Mamba? Conda is one of the most popular Python package and environment management tools out there for data scientists, but you don't have to be a data scientist to use it. And then Mamba is a re-implementation of Conda in C++, so it's much faster, but it can't do everything that Conda can. So as a general rule, you can use Mamba for installing software. That includes creating new environments, and you can use Conda for everything else. And so why should you use Conda specifically and Mamba? Well, obviously they can install Python packages, but they can also install non-Python packages like the CUDA toolkit or cuDNN if you use GPUs. You can use pip. You can create virtual environments. And finally, it checks dependencies, which is great. So it will automatically detect what versions of all the software you need that are compatible with one another and select those. And it will also find out what other software you need for your particular package to run, and it will install those as well. And so in order to set up Conda and Mamba, you just go to the installation website, download a folder or download a file, and then run it. I do recommend using Miniconda instead of Anaconda because it's more lightweight. Anaconda is much larger and has a bunch of pre-installed packages that you may not need. And then also, if you're using Windows, I highly recommend you're using WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux with Ubuntu, and then installing Conda on that. It just makes everything run much more smoothly. And then once you install Conda, you want to install Mamba by running this particular line. And some setup hints. In general, you should never install anything in your base environment. So installing Mamba is an exception, but besides that, you want to keep your base environment free of anything. By default, the base environment is always going to be activated whenever you open up a new terminal window. I don't like that behavior, so if you want to turn it off, you can just run this command, and it will stop doing that. And then Conda installs from these things called channels. Now, if you're going to use GPUs, you might also want to add the NVIDIA and Rapids AI channel by running these two lines. And then finally, you absolutely want to add the Conda Forge channel, which is the largest, most popular, and well-maintained channel. And I will say that the add flag does add the channel, but it also makes that channel the highest priority channel. So you want to add the Conda Forge channel last because that's the channel that we want to be our highest priority channel. Okay, so in order to use Conda and Mamba, one, you're going to create an environment. Just FYI, within the installation folder of Conda, you're going to have this ends folder, which stands for environments. And then within this folder, there will be a folder for every single environment that you create. So just FYI. And once you've created an environment, you're going to activate the environment. You're going to install your packages. And then finally, you can use your environment as you see fit. There's three main commands to do this. The first is the create command, and then the activate command, and then the install command. So let's go ahead and run through one of these. Now here I've got my environments folder under mini Conda, and these are my environments. I'm going to create a new environment, and you're going to see a new folder pop up as I do that. So Mamba create, I'm going to name it my project, and we see that it has been created here. And then we can also go ahead and activate the my projects environment, and we can see that it is now activated. You can also install packages like in a different environment by using the -n flag, and then you just specify the environment name. So some other important commands are the deactivate command, the environment list to see all of your environments, and then finally the environment remove command to remove environments. So let's go ahead and do that. So if I do conda deactivate, now our environment is deactivated. I can do this and we can see all of our environments here, particularly ours. And then if I wanted to remove that, I can do conda environment remove. And now the folder is gone. And I can run the list command again, and we can see that it is gone from our list. So note on creation, versions, and channels. Whenever you create an environment using the Mamba create command, you can also install packages at the same time by just putting those packages after your create line. And then you can also add specific versions by adding the equal sign after the package that you want to install. And then if you wanted to install from a specific channel, you would do the -c flag followed by the channel that you want. And so, for example, if we wanted to create the environment called my project in using the Conda Forge channel, we can install Python 3.8 and pandas, which is exactly what we will do now. So Mamba create. We're going to call this the same thing. We use the Conda Forge channel, and then we're going to install Python 3.8 and also pandas. It'll prompt us to install. We'll go ahead and hit yes. And now we've created it. So Conda environment list. And now we've got it here. And so besides the deactivate, list, and remove commands, we've also got the uninstall command, as well as the environment export command and the environment create from an exported environment. Now we're going to talk about exporting right now because it is very important and really useful. So what is exporting Conda environment and why should we do it? So whenever you export an environment, it's going to create a YAML file. It's going to have the name of the environment, the channels that were used to create that environment, and a list of all the software and the versions that were in that environment. So you can save this file to a repository, with your project code, so that others can easily recreate that environment and successfully run your code. You can also use it yourself to recreate the environment. So for example, in cases where I haven't touched code base for years or months, it's very easy to pull the repository and just create the environment from the YAML file, and everything works as it should. If you need to containerize your code, you can also use this for the creation of Docker images. And the big benefit here also is that you can remove the environment once you're finished working on the project, and that frees up space. And so when you export Conda environments, the YAML file is going to be created in the current directory. So in our case, we've got the my projects directory. And we just basically have to do two things. One, we've got to activate the environment. And then two, we just run the Mamba environment export command. And so this is what it would look like. And it will create a file in our folder here. And then afterwards, we can deactivate and delete the environment. So let's go ahead and do that. So conda activate. And now that we've activated, we would do Mamba environment export. And then we'll call this my project.yaml. And here's the YAML file. If we open it up, we can see that it's got the name, the channels, and all of the packages that we need with their versions as well. And then I can deactivate it, and then I can go ahead and remove it. And we see that it is no longer there. So to recreate an environment, we start in the directory with the YAML file. We're already there. And of course, we want to make sure the environment doesn't exist, which I showed you it does not. And then we are going to run this single command, which is the environment create -f. And so the key here is the -f flag, which tells Conda to create the environment from a file. You can specify a different name that's different from the file using the -n flag if you want to. And so let's go ahead and just do that, but we'll use the default name. So I would do a Mamba environment create F, and then here. And we can see that the environment was just created there. And now we can see that the environment is also in our list. So that's basically it. There's a few other miscellaneous things I want to go over. And so about pip, the preferred way of installing is using Conda and Mamba, but sometimes it doesn't have the package version that you need. And so in these cases, you want to go ahead and use pip. However, if you do use pip, you want to use Mamba and Conda to install everything that you can first, and then use pip at the end as a general rule. Whenever you're installing things with Mamba or Conda, you're going to be prompted to confirm the installs. I kind of like to skip this because it's a little annoying. So if you want to do that, you just add the Y flag at the end of the install command. So the -y has to come in last. And then sometimes when you're recreating an environment from the YAML file, you might get an error that looks something like this: nothing provided for requested, and then whatever package. And so this is very easy to fix. You can just open up the YAML file and locate the line with the problem package. And then you're just going to comment out everything after the package name. And this will allow Mamba to automatically find a suitable version of the package if it can't find that specific version. And then finally, regarding environment variables, you can set environment variables in an environment so that whenever the environment is activated, it will have that environment variable ready. And you do that using this particular template. You can also view the variables by running this command. And then, of course, you can also remove environment variables by using this format here. And then if you do set environment variables, they will be included in your exports, and they will be set when you're recreating the environments from a YAML file. Thank you so much. That's all. Hope you learned something.